Good morning, everybody, and I would like to call this meeting of Development and Property Committee to order on June the 11th, 2024 at 9:30 a.m. As we gather this morning, I would like to acknowledge on behalf of Council and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the First Nations. We would like to thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history. We are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. Has roll call been taken, Evelyn?
Yes, thank you, Chair, and we have quorum.
Thank you very much. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof? I'm seeing none, so we'll move to the adoption of the minutes for May the 14th, 2024. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor from Town of Petawawa, seconded by Councillor from Town of Arnprior. Any additions, corrections, or omissions? Seeing none, all in favor? And that's carried. And new with this new agenda management is the adoption of the closed minutes for May the 14th, 2024. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor from Laurentian Valley, seconded by Councillor from McNabb Braeside. All in favor? And those are carried as well. We have no delegations this morning, so we'll move to the Development and Property Department report, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, committee. Before going into the information items in the department report, just want to make a comment regarding our new software, the Diligent software. Looking at Evelyn in the background saying, new software for us. It seems seamless on your end, hopefully. If you have any issues or concerns, Evelyn has offered her services to support you IT-wise, and bear with us while we work through this new software. So far, so good. I have not yet logged on, but I still have a hard copy, but I will soon. Thank you, Craig. Going on to my report on page 10. Believe it or not, this is one of our quicker committee packages. You see no resolutions or bylaws or closed meetings, so hopefully it won't go beyond the 12 o'clock that we've typically done in the past 3 to 4 committee packages. So on page 10 of your committee package under information item number 1, cell service update. On pages 11 to 13 is the media release from the Eastern Ontario Regional Network and the Government of Canada, is just informing the Eastern Ontario region that a number of areas have been lit up for cell service. You see that on page 11 of your committee package, and the County of Renfrew is included at that new media release. So by all means, pass that along to your committees or to your members of your public. Item number 2 is the well water testing. As the attached on page 14 to 15 is a resolution that we received from the town of Bradford, West Gillenbury, regarding the private well water testings and the request for the province not to discontinue or phase out the free water testing. Since that time, the province has indicated through a question period that the health minister said they will not stop this service. So right now it's in your package as information on pages 14 to 15. And the last item in my report under information is our activity tracker, basically for residential activity for the sales within Renfrew County. Still solid numbers within Renfrew County. And it'll be interesting to see what the lowering of the interest rate will do to the market activity as we move forward. Some comments I received from realtors, this lowering, even though it's only 0.25, will push people to purchase and sell their properties. So, Chair, that is the end of my departmental report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. So we'll go back to information item 1, the cell service update. Comments or questions? Item number 2 is the well water testing. And item number 3 is the residential market activity. Seeing no comments or questions, then we'll move on to the economic development report. And Ms. Markwood, please.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, everyone. Number one on the economic development report is just an update on the Ontario Biomass Program. So the application in partnership with Southey Holler and Associates, D.F. Johnson and Associates, and Ben Holcomb and Sons has been submitted. And we also did some review of some other applications from our forestry sector businesses, as well as provided a few other letters of support for that program. Item number two is the BDO zone webinar. So the report currently states that the date is to be confirmed, but I can confirm today that the date is scheduled for August 1st, 2 to 3 p.m. For that webinar, and that will be facilitated by EcoStrat and will feature Business Development Officer David Wybu and our County Forester Lacey Rose, who will be participating on that to speak about our AA rating for Renfrew County. Number three on the report is vendor applications for Taste of the Valley are out. We have received a record of over 175 applications as of last Friday. So yeah, it's pretty impressive. Last year, throughout the whole season, we received 181 applications. So this first round of applications will be vetted and confirmed, and then should there be spots available, which we know we are getting very tight, and some of the events are already sold out, then we'll do a call back out for those events that we have spaces left for. And just as a reminder, the dates and locations for this year are August 10th in Barry's Bay, September 7th in Killaloe, September 28th, Petawawa, October 19th in Cobden, and December 14th in Renfrew for the holiday edition. Expressions of interest to host for the 2025-2026 series will be issued this summer, probably next month in July, and the deadline will be early fall so that we can review applications, and dates and locations can be announced before the end of the year. So stay tuned for that. Number four, we hosted a webinar on May 29th about the Temporary Foreign Worker Program, and that included Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, as well as Service Canada, to provide updates and changes about the program, and we had more than 20 businesses attend that webinar. Number five, last week I spoke at the Community Futures Ontario Conference in Sault Ste. Marie, along with Cindy Phillips, Executive Director of the Renfrew County Community Futures Development Corporation, and that was to talk about our partnership approach for strategic planning. And that was presented as a case study, as a best case study, and encouraging other CFs to look at partnership opportunities for their strategic planning as well. And we will also be speaking at the Ontario East Municipal Conference about the same subject this September in Ottawa. And that concludes my ECDEV report.
Thank you, Ms. Margaret. We'll go back to information item number one, the Ontario Biomass Program. Comments, questions? Item number two is the Bioeconomy Development Opportunity and the Zone Webinar. Item number three is the Taste of the Valley vendor applications. Just had a question in regards to the event at Killaloe. Are they going to have enough room?
Yes, they're going to have enough room. Yes. We're a little bit challenged in the village of Killaloe, and I can say that because I'm a resident there. Station Park is great, but it's not necessarily big enough. It doesn't have ample parking close to it. Holding it in the municipal hall parking lot provides easier access. It also allows us to use the parking lots for the churches that are right nearby, allows us access to washrooms using the municipal office washrooms, as well as power supply and all that kind of thing. So that's why the decision was made to be in Killaloe at the municipal hall.
Thank you for that. I had asked Jason about it, and he said, well, that's best left to Melissa. Thank you. Any other comments, questions on item three? Seeing none, item four is the Temporary Foreign Worker Program. And item number five is the Community Futures Ontario Conference. And seeing no further comments or questions, I'll go back to Ms. Markwood for the Ontario Valley Tourist Association report.
Thank you. So number one on the OVTA report is a revamped website for the Tap and Cork route. The Tap and Cork route is a partnership that we have with Pontiac, our neighbors in Pontiac across the river, and that highlights all of our craft brewery operations. So craft beer, distilleries, wineries, cideries, that type of thing. So that's a self-guided route. This route was originally launched in 2018, so this was just a bit of a revamp on the website and marketing for that product. Number two is just an update on our public outreach. So we were at the Pembroke Community Expo last month, and that was to promote all of the economic development services, leading with our tourism services. And well, of course, we brought the big green chair, which is also great for people to do selfies in. We're also going to be at the Ottawa River Paddle Festival, June 21st to 23rd, at the Multicultural Festival, July 19th to 20th, and at the Arnprior Cultural Night Market on August 24th. Number three is the announcement of the winners of the Bicycle Friendly Business Award winners for the Ontario's Highlands region. So these awards are handed out by Ontario by Bike, which is our provincial cycling marketing organization. And two winners from the Ontario's Highlands region this year are actually located in the Ottawa Valley, so we're quite proud. Ottawa Valley Coffee was named as the business, and Valley Cycle Tours was also named as the two cycle-friendly businesses for the whole entire region. And number four on the report is just preparation for our Visitor Information Center FAM Tour and Training. So that will be taking place June 25th to 27th. This is an opportunity to train the staff who are working at our 11 visitor information centers across Renfrew County. We take them out for a couple days to see and experience the various tourism experiences that can be had across the region. And then we also provide them with customer service training. And this year we've entered into a partnership with the Training and Learning Center of Renfrew County, who will be delivering that training on our behalf. And number five, it's just a good news story. So on June 25th, Summerhill Resorts, they are the new property that took over the former Logos Land property as well as the former Wilderness Tours property. And so they're having the official launch of their brand new Splash Valley Water Park and Resort. And that is on June 25th. And that will hopefully be well attended, and will encourage lots to get out and enjoy the splash pad this summer. And that's the end of my OVTA report.
Thank you once again, Ms. Marquardt. We'll go back to information item number one, the revamped Tap and Cork website. Questions, comments? Item number two is the public outreach. Item number three is the Bicycle Friendly Business Award winners for Ontario Highlands. Item number four is the Visitor Information Center FAM Tour and Training. And finally, item five is the grand unveiling of the Splash Valley Water Park and Resort. Seeing no further comments or questions, then we'll go back to Ms. Marquardt and the Enterprise Renfrew County report.
Okay, so number one on the Enterprise Renfrew County report is just an update on the Summer Company program. So that is our youth entrepreneurship program. So applications closed middle of May with a total of 15. And just a reminder that we do have 7 seats available. So we did have a committee comprised of the Town of Petawawa, Renfrew County Community Futures Development Corporation, as well as our Economic Development Division that reviewed all the applications and shortlisted the eligible candidates. And so we've got a total of 7 youth participating this year. Caden McKinnon from Renfrew, who's offering a car detailing service. Haley Vanderswag from Westmeath is offering a care box subscription service. Amin O'Brien Gilani from Barry's Bay is doing long game rentals. Katie White from McNabb Brayside is doing an animal balloon business. Kai Myra from Pembroke is doing clay art. Kyle Radford from Eganville is doing a barbecue cleaning business. And Scarlett Merrill from Deep River is offering a mobile babysitting service. So we've got a nice collection and variety of services being offered, and I can probably say that I may want to subscribe to almost all of them because I know I have a barbecue that really needs cleaning right now. And so these seats are supported by the Ministry of Economic Development and Trade. And we did receive increased funding to increase those seats from 5 to 7, so we're really excited about that. As part of the program, the students receive $1,500 at the start to help kick off their business, so that can be used to provide purchase supplies or equipment or get their marketing off on the ground. And then after successful completion of the program at the end of the season, they're provided with another grant of $1,500. Number 2 is just the workshops and community outreach that ERC did in May. So they attended the Eastern Ontario Homesteading Conference that was held in Denby and promoted services to the small business clients who attended that event. And then in May, there was a Marketing Masters webinar series that was held, and that continues actually throughout this month in June. And a total of 78 attendees have participated thus far, with the last webinar series taking place on June 11th, so tomorrow, or today, actually. And then in July, there are webinars offered from the Workplace Safety and Prevention Services that are being offered on July 23rd as well as July 30th. And registration can take place at the ERC website. And number 3 is just highlighting a success story, and that's Airborne Petawawa. So they're a brand new business that just opened up last month, and they are offering skydiving and skydiving certification from all levels and disciplines to visitors and those who are looking to own their skills. So ERC provided coaching services and helped them with business planning and cash flow projections, as well as applying for funding to help purchase the plane, which is currently right now being inspected before they are literally cleared for takeoff in the next few weeks. And that concludes my ERC report.
Thank you, Ms. Market. We'll go back to information item number 1 and the summer company. Questions, comments? I just had a question. What's a care box subscription?
So a care box subscription can include things for your personal care and well-being. I haven't looked into the details yet, so I'm not sure exactly what is all being offered, and her website is not up yet, but I'll share that at the end of the season in the August report. But typically the things that to help with your personal care and well-being.
Thank you. Any other comments? Item number 2 is the workshops and community outreach. Item number 3 is the core business success story with Airborne Petawawa. Just good news that more utilization of the Pembrokeshire Area Airport, and I know this was a service that that did operate a number of years ago, but has not since they had an accident there. So it's nice to see it up and running again. Councillor from town of Petawawa.
Thank you, Chair, and through you. Yeah, you're right about that. It's great to see more businesses accessing the airport. And just for everybody's information, their grand opening is this Friday, the 14th at 10 a.m. And they tried to get me to go up in a plane and do a tandem jump. I politely declined.
I'm wondering if Melissa would be doing a jump as part of the connection with that development.
I could be tempted, for sure.
Our insurance doesn't cover that.
Thank you for that. Seeing no other questions, comments, then we'll go to the forestry report. And Ms. Rose, please.
Thank you, Chair. The forestry report is on page 23 of your package. The first information item is another forestry tour that happened on May 16th. This time it was about 40 students from Opiongo High School, and we were lucky to have partners. The Bancroftman and Forest Company was the closest forest near the Barry's Bay area that took them for a tour of a recently harvested forest. And then we visited the Murray Brothers Lumber Company. So it was neat to see the connection between so many students and their families that would work at that mill. So that was well received and funded and facilitated by Forest Ontario. Information item number 2 is an operations update. We've had a very busy first 6 months of the year. Almost all of our harvest operations are complete already for 2024. Just an update, since the package was prepared, Leclerc tract is also complete now, and the haul is done, and that revenue was about $17,000. So we're already working to prepare for 2025 harvest tenders as well. Information item number 3 is just some information for you about upcoming activities at the Beachburg tract. And the reason I'm specifically talking about these is because that is by far our most publicly used and viewed tract. So there's always lots of public interest whenever we do any activity in that area. So we, as you may remember, in 2022, early 2023, we did a harvest in a natural white pine area there. And since then, we've been preparing the area for 45,000 trees to be planted in 2025. Those are already growing in a nursery in Kempville, as per our specifications. And we did a mechanical site preparation late last fall, and we are right now evaluating whether we'll need to do a chemical site preparation treatment for that. And just a little bit of information about what that means. So many species of trees grow very fast following a harvest. So poplar, red maple, different woody shrubs like alder and beaked hazel. And those can grow like a meter a year. And if we were to go in there and plant white pine that are about 30 centimeters tall under those trees, they will not survive. So to knock back the competition before we plant those very valuable trees that we're trying to regenerate, we will need to possibly go in and spray some glyphosate to kill the woody vegetation. So we're looking at that right now, and that decision will be made in the next few weeks, whether to go forward with that. Also in Beachburg news, we recently visited to update the inventory in another area of the tract. Unfortunately, a non-native disease called blister rust has really taken a hold on those white pine in that area. So we weren't really planning on doing a harvest there at this time, but those trees are already dying. So it's kind of a salvage that is being prescribed now for 2025 in that area. It will be visually impactful, but the bright side is that there is currently no white pine growing in the understory of that area, even though it was harvested in 2007. So we will be following the same process in that area as we are in the one we're currently working towards regenerating with white pine. So there'll be a lot of public information provided, and we've already started that process. Another thing I wanted to highlight is these areas are very expensive to renew, but it is the right thing to do for the forest. So we are benefiting from the harvesting of these big, beautiful white pine trees, but we have to be responsible and grow back that area to white pine. And that's a hard species to grow. So although we're the 2022-2023 area revenue was over $4,000 a hectare, we're spending about $2,300 a hectare to regenerate those areas. So that just highlights the importance of the forestry reserve that we're putting money into to make sure that we have the funds to do this kind of work in the Renfrew County Forest. So yeah, there's already been some information on social media about the 2025 harvest coming up. I've been in contact with the stakeholders, the Whitewater region, Borca, and Snow Country. We will, of course, have to close trails during any and all of these activities, and there is another public information tour scheduled for July 31st at 4:30 p.m. should any members of committee wish to attend. And that concludes my report. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Rose. We'll go back to information item number 1, the forestry tour. Item number 2 is the operations update. And item number 3 is the upcoming activities at the Beachburg tract. And I'm seeing no comments or questions. So that will bring us to the real estate division report. And Mr. Katz, please.
Thank you, Chair, and through you to the committee. Real estate report can be found on page 25 in your package. Information item number 1 in the attached appendix, again, is just the status of the current projects that's happening in 2024. Would like to mention the kind of the key project, primary project being Eganville Paramedic Base, which that project is going well, and that will be completed at the end of the month. And so within the upcoming weeks, the paramedic services, they'll be transitioning from their current location to the new paramedic base. So that's a good news story. Information item number 2 is an update on the new build at Lee Street, and we are nearing the finish line for that project. So currently the contractors are focusing on the deficiencies. We're about 98% complete, and anticipate that project will be completed by June 21st. And again, that's a good news story. And again, in the upcoming weeks, we'll be able to move some tenants into that new complex. Information item number 3 is just an update that we had submitted our energy report last month, May 30th, for the 2022 and 2023 year. And of course, that identified the 14 buildings, and that's an annual report that we have to submit to the broader public sector. And Chair, that completes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Raditz, and my apologies. I think I called you Mr. Kaditz earlier, so apologize for that. So we'll go back to information item number 1, the real estate report for the 2024 capital projects. Item number 2 is the 1030 Lee Street new build progress report update. It's really a good news story, and so is move-in date the 1st of July?
It will be probably more so in August. So the structural work will be completed at the end of, at June 21st. But there will be some other work involved, such as installing the appliances. So there will be a couple weeks where there's some background work happening in the complex. But we'll coordinate that with Ms. Patrick's team. But more than likely, it'll be the beginning of August when we'll have tenants in place at that complex.
Thank you for that. Councillor from Town of Armpride.
Thank you, Chair. Kevin, will there be any more expenses forthcoming before the 1st of August that you're aware of or could be aware of? Thank you.
Through you, Chair, thank you for that question. To date, we don't anticipate any further costs or change orders. And for the next report in August, we'll have an update on the totals and for the financials on that project.
Thank you for that. Item number 3 is the broader public sector energy report. Questions, comments? I'm seeing none. Sorry, so that brings us to our planning division report, and Mr. Howarth, please.
Thank you, Chair. Item number 1 is a good news story, and I'm pleased to announce for the first time in almost 2 years that the planning division is fully staffed. So at the back of the room, I am happy to introduce to you Nicole Moore, who has joined our planning team. She in the position of a junior planner. So she has just recently graduated and completed her Master's of Science in Rural Planning and Development from the University of Guelph. And so Nicole may not be a stranger to some of you. She has previous experience working for Blanchard Valley as a tourism investor, and most recently for the past 4 summers at the Whitewater Region Township. She has been working there as a planning student. So big thank you to the Township of Whitewater staff, whether it was Ivan or Alex. They gave her a great experience, and she has been able to hit the ground running. She already has some knowledge of the county official plan and some of our processes, which is allowing her to jump right in. So we're excited to have Nicole with us, and she's already been focusing on the regional incentives program, which was directed by council to come forward with a report and a program there. So hopefully we'll be hearing from Nicole maybe August. We'll see you soon, but she won't be a stranger. So yeah, please, welcome. Join me in welcoming Nicole.
welcome, Nicole, on behalf of the committee, and so glad to have you as part of Renfrew County. I know you did come well recommended from the township of Whitewater, so we're pleased to have you on board with us.
Item 2, Chair, is the development activity tracker for the planning division. Just a couple of the items I wanted to bring to the committee's attention are the volume of consent applications. You can see the volume there. So between 2021 and 2022 and even into 2023, we were hitting a record number of consent applications that we hadn't seen before. So the numbers this year, it is projected. We are on a sort of a downward trend, but it's still exceeding our previous, we'll call them pre-COVID years. So back in 2019 and 2020, we were averaging around 110. And right now we are still on pace for 144. So it's still a high number. It's just not as high as our record number of years. With regards to special projects, a couple of those that are taking, that we're spending a lot of time on. So we are working on a number of comprehensive zoning bylaw updates for a number of townships that we have either completed or have, are still working on. So those include Killu, Hagerty, Richards, North Algona, Wilberforce, Headclare, Mariah, Laurentian Hills, Brunel, Lindach, Raglan, and recently we've just started working on McNabb Braeside, and a couple of those are going to be on Nicole's plate as well. Other special projects that we've been working on, as directed by Council, is the communal servicing report. We're working on the community improvement plan / the regional incentives program. We're ongoing, we should hear from them later at County Council, is a report from our consultant who's been working on the climate action plan, and also a completed project has been the floodplain mapping phase 1. I shouldn't say it's completed. The phase 1 is done for the floodplain mapping project. And also, that which we're spending a lot of time on, we have 3 ongoing appeals to the Ontario Land Tribunal. One of those is for the County of Renfrew, and the other 2 are for local municipalities. And I will leave it at that. Item number 3 is information provided by the Ontario Ministry of Mines, and it's just indicating that they have an ongoing project in Renfrew County right now. They're undertaking a groundwater mapping project this summer, and their information is attached, and there's a flyer that they also sent along with that. And they are looking for participants. If you know of people who have wells that are interested in participating in that, there is a link that is provided, and the public is invited to participate in that mapping project. And item 4, lastly, is an update on DRAPE. So again, DRAPE is an acronym for Digital Raster Acquisition Project East. So this is our air photography. So the county was successfully flown in May, and we had anticipated getting these data in the first quarter of 2025. We just had an email yesterday from them actually providing an update saying that they may be ahead of schedule, and it could possibly even be getting this data at the end of 2024. So we just wanted to remind committee that we are anticipating getting this. This is a great resource. We really appreciate all the support we're getting from the province on this project and all the other stakeholders that we all, the province and us partners all participate in providing funding for this. And this is a great resource. We use it for everything from planning to public works. It's available we make it available to the public. And it's a great resource to have in a whole bunch of these different areas of our responsibilities and the services that we provide to the county. And thank you, Chair. That concludes the report.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Mr. Howarth. We'll go back to information item number 1. Planning staff update, comments, questions. Item number 2 is the planning activity tracker. Item number 3 is the groundwater mapping project. And item number 4 is the DRAPE update. And I see no comments or questions. Yeah, easy morning this morning, Bruce. And we'll go to new business, and I'll start up. Oh, I'm sorry, yes. I'll need a mover and a seconder to adopt the report as a whole. Moved by the warden, seconded by Councillor from Town of Petawawa. Comments? Councillor from McNabb Braeside.
Thank you, Chair. And look at the time. Because we're talking about the report as a whole, and because Director Davis brought it up, I have some questions about the new software. I'm wondering if it's appropriate to ask.
Please go ahead.
Okay, so thank you, Chair. So the first thing is, got these fancy underline, highlight, and drawing tools. I'm just wondering if I take advantage of any of those, if everybody sees that, or if this is my own copy that I'm looking at, so I can make my own notes and whatnot. So I made some underlined some things on the real estate division report. Is that something that only I see, or does everybody see that?
I will turn it to Evelyn to answer that.
No, you are the only one, so you have access to your own, you're a member. Any comments you make for committee, that would be your own self. Nobody else would see those comments. There are bars on there that you can just make notes for yourself, etc., but you would be the only one that sees that.
Thank you. Okay, so nobody sees my doodles. Okay. All right. So the other question is, I don't know what's changed on the website. I haven't had a chance to look, but does the public see things differently with this? If public that's following along? Because this is much better. It's got all the links. It's, not in a PDF. You got the actual links. Much better.
Go ahead, Evelyn.
Okay, thank you, Chair. So to committee, currently the public is just seeing the old method yet. We haven't launched it to the public yet. However, they will have their public access, so they will only see, they will not be seeing any closed information, etc. They will have access to open it like you, and they will be able to move through the document very similar. It's we're hoping and anticipating in August to launch it to the public. But currently, no, they do not have access.
Supplementary?
No, that's good. That was the main things. Thank you very much.
Councillor from Town of Arnprior.
Thank you, Chair, in that you've opened the door. For staff, when you're saying it's on page 25 or 20, 19, doesn't matter, we don't have pages on this thing. I go to a PDF, I open up the little paper clip, and it goes to page 1 of your report. So when you say it's on page 11, I'm scrambling to say where page 11 is, and I can't find it. Just to let you know on that one. Thanks.
Councillor from Town of Petawawa.
Thank you, Chair. I guess we're rolling here. So I'm not opposed to change, but is it possible for us to receive the agendas in the old format as well as this new format? Just in case some of us enjoy the old format.
Thank you, Chair, and through you. The intent is not to have two or duplications of the process. So this is a way of streamlining the reporting format. So to move forward, we do have a transitional period, as we mentioned this morning, and some growing pains, as you mentioned, Councillor Lynch. But the intent is not to have duplication.
Any other questions on agenda management? Seeing none, I'll call the vote then on the report as a whole. All in favor? And that's carried. And I'll go back to Mr. Davis then for new business, or am I going right to the warden? Yes, Councillor from Town of Petawawa.
Thank you, Chair, and through you, just a recent announcement that came to my attention and affects really everybody in the county. On June the 20th, it's the 1-year anniversary of the Chinook helicopter crash in Petawawa, and the snowbirds are going to do a flyby. On June 20th at 1:15, the flyby will last for 7 minutes. So just for all the residents of the county, if they're wondering why the snowbirds are in the area, that's the reason, on June 20th, 1:15.
Thank you for that. Any other new business? And I can, yes. I attended the Renfrew County ATV Club AGM at the Petawawa Civic Center on Saturday morning past. And always enjoy the meetings with this group. Just a couple of the highlights, and there is a PowerPoint presentation, and I just wondered if committee would be interested in having that included as an information item for County Council at the end of the month. But what was interesting, and I thought worth noting, is that the membership for the Renfrew County ATV has increased the last few years, 8% year over year. So that certainly is good news and speaks to the popularity of the trail system in Renfrew County. The other item is that their income has also increased. And one of the things they are still working on is getting a permitting system similar to the Ontario Federation of Snowmobiles, so that one permit covers you for any trails anywhere in Ontario. It's still a work in progress with the province trying to get that in place, but they continue to push and have the support of our local MPP. And hopefully that's something that we will see come to fruition sometime in the future. So I'll turn to Craig for this. Do I need a motion to bring this to County Council, or can it just be added as
Chair, you've spoken about it. If you wish, we can add it to it, or it can circulate at any time. But you've spoken about it today, and we can include it in your in the committee reports when they're circulated. Sure. I don't know the size of it. It's not 100 pages or anything like that, is it? But no.
I think it's 44.
Oh goodness.
44 slides.
Sure. We'll take a look at it and circulate it as necessary.
Okay. Thank you. Finally, I'll turn to the warden for a good news item as well.
Yes, thank you very much, Chair. Last night we had a wrap-up of the Ontario Winter Games, the 2023 Ontario Winter Games. And we did a couple very significant announcements. The first announcement was that we have been able to generate, through the generosity and support of our community, a legacy fund of $375,000. Rather than redevelop the wheel, we looked around for community partnerships. And at the same time, the Pembroke Petawawa Community Federation realized that their reach was extending beyond this community, and they changed their letters patent and their focus, and have now become the Ottawa Valley Community Foundation. And so we partnered with them and asked them to help us in dispersing the funds. And so the funds were generated because we had 51 donors and sponsors to the event. And it allowed us to generate these funds. And we have a very, at this point, limited criteria, and we're working on extending it. At this point, we're going to go with a youth sport grant, which covers people up to 21 years of age, and it's $20,000 annually, with grants up to $1,000. And so they can be used for the following. They can be used for equipment costs, they can be used for travel costs, they can be used for coaching, registration, and facility rentals. We're also going with a sports club, and it's $20,000 annually. So it's 4 grants per year of $5,000 to help sports teams and clubs and organizations with a specific need. Again, an example, team travel to major tournaments or qualifier events, equipment and supplies for startups or existing clubs, and also to host a new sport, for instance, sledge hockey, or equipment that can be used to introduce youth to a new sport. It's also for coaching fees, and we're going to going to elaborate a little more on that as we flesh out the criteria. The major sports infrastructure, $40,000 annually. So 2 grants per year of up to $20,000, and it's for new builds or infrastructure improvements to existing sports facilities that improves accessibility. And we want to ensure that more people can participate, so we want to improve the quality of the facilities or provide a new option for the sport. And an example is putting in ramps and accessible bathrooms, entrance doors in a sports facility, and buying equipment for grooming, for instance, cross-country ski trails, and updating, again, like a pool changing room. And so we're going to flesh that out. The grants will be, the applications will be announced in January of this year, and we're expecting that we should have enough money to do this for about 5 years. We're hopeful that we can encourage another group to assist us in fundraising to make this an ongoing investment in the community. And just some very quick fun facts. There were 22 sports, 9 host communities, 15 venues, 1,696 athletes, 314 coaches, 285 officials and sports reps for total participants of 2,295. We had 1,390 volunteers, nearly 12,500 volunteer hours. That doesn't include the hours of the Games Organizing Committee. We believe there was about 2,600 estimated visitors outside of the participants to our community. 17 hotels were used. 1,475 rooms were booked. 3,600 nights were booked, and 18,000 meals were served. And we had, as I noted, 51 sponsors. So we think that it was $1.6 million in economic activity, $1.5 million in visitor spending, and nearly $600,000 in income was generated. And there was other spending as well, for a total of about $5 million into our community. So we're very fortunate, you know, some really valuable partnerships. We had a great relationship with Minister Lumsden and former Minister MacLeod and our MPP, John Yakubuski. They were very strong advocates, and their confidence in our community resulted in a funding initially of $1 million, and then subsequently we asked for an extra $400,000 and they granted it. Their staff were phenomenal in assisting us in putting the games together. As you know, we went through COVID. We went through canceling and then rebooting. We went through the unknown about whether or not we're going to be able to use school buses to their capacity or have half capacity. We had a protocol in the event that someone did get sick, how we're going to isolate them, how we're going to look after them, how we're going to transport them back home. We sourced masks, hand wash, all sorts of things. So it was quite a journey, and that was just COVID. And then we had a fire at as you know, at the local ski hill that destroyed their pump house. So that changed. We lost a couple of sports, which were major attractions for the games. We also had rising costs around food, hotels, and some uncertainty as to whether or not they would be available because they were going through staffing problems. This was a very unique games for the county to start with because we're 7,700 square kilometers, and as you recall, nine communities were playing host, and it's not as if you're traveling 20 minutes between the communities. You know, as you know, it's 3 hours to go end to end in our community. So we had some challenges. We're very confident we could do it. That was never the issue. And we had amazing support from the County of Renfrew staff. Craig and the directors and all of the staff pitched in at various times willingly and volunteered outside of work hours as well. Craig was hustling pancakes in Barry's Bay because we ran out of volunteers. Jason was moving stuff around on a regular basis. Lee Perkins was involved. Andrea and the staff at Community Services were involved as well. And Melissa took countless calls asking for money to do joint partnerships, and then also just picking her brain on how to market things. So we reached into the organization at will and received great support. We also are very grateful for the support we received from the town of Petawawa, the town of Arnprior, and the town of Renfrew. They gave us their facilities and their staff time, and they genuinely invested, and their staff genuinely invested, because all of the events we held in those venues, people raved about the reception they got from the staff on site. They also spoke glowingly of the condition of the facilities. They're well maintained. They're brightly lit, clean. The washrooms were clean, and it was just phenomenal. We did not hear a negative comment about any of our venues, and I was at all of our venues at one time or another, and our 3 municipal partners were just outstanding to work with. And so, I think we should acknowledge their efforts to make this successful. Lastly, I think I really need to talk about our games organizing committee. There were 17 people, plus Cindy, who worked their tails off. Meetings every Wednesday night for 2 years, 3 or 4 hours long, and then a lot of individual meetings around that. And presentations. Cindy and I made presentations. I can't remember how many now. It was any number of places, and sometimes you'd show up and you'd have the wrong name on the screen because you were cutting and pasting so fast that sometimes you didn't have the right name on the screen. That only happened once, I think, but it was just a symbol of how quick things were going. So thank you very much for your support. We're very proud of the Legacy Fund. We're very proud of the effort our community made to make this successful. We came roaring out of COVID and established Renfrew County as a place to come visit, to have fun, to live in, and to contribute to. Good news is the ministry sent us a note yesterday, and I sent it on to Jason and Craig asking if we're interested in doing this again someday. And I said that I thought that there was at least 2 members of this committee would be more than happy to chair it. I'm not one of them, but anyway, thank you very much. It was just an incredible opportunity. I was so glad that I was able to be a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Warden. Any comments, questions? I just want to say that this was a showcase event for Renfrew County, and I know from being part of handing out some awards in Petawawa and just talking to some of the parents that were there with their families. They had no idea how beautiful that Renfrew County was. They hadn't been, I guess, into this part of the valley before, and they just couldn't get over for what's been deemed a rural community. The services, the amenities that are available, and they were planning to come back and visit again. So yeah, certainly a great news story, and the Legacy Fund hopefully helps a lot of our upcoming athletes that could certainly use some financial support and some help. So moving on to item number 10 is written reports from representatives appointed to external boards. And there's 3 reports, one from the Ottawa Valley Forest Local Citizen Committee, one from the Algonquin Park Local Citizen Committee, and I will turn to Councillor from Town of Petawawa to see if he has any comments he would like to add.
Thank you, Chair, and through you, it's we finally get this much anticipated report out to the public. I'll just give you some highlights. The reports are quite lengthy, and there's some good slideshows there for you to look through. The Ottawa Valley Forest, some of the things that were interesting, they're using a new drone depletion mapping system, which uses little drones, and they fly 80 to 100 meters above the ground. and they take thousands of photos, and it's good for 1 meter of accuracy, which is quite a bit better than the old system they used to use. A lot was made recently about Trenton closing, Espanola closing, and our local foresters not having a lot of places to take their products anymore. But there is still 2 mills open in Temiskaming. The company RYAM still has a high purity cellulose plant and a paperboard, the high purity cellulose plant is closing July 2nd. But they still have 2 open. There's a paperboard mill there and a high yield pulp mill that are still open in Temiskaming and accepting products. And they do some interesting studies on bears using barbed wire traps. I've never seen this before, but there's a barbed wire about a couple feet off the ground and another one lower to the ground. The bear goes through it, some fur gets caught on the trap, and they take it to Guelph for a DNA analysis. I never knew that was happening before. And they also introduced the annual work schedule. Next was the Algonquin Park LCC. We're losing some members on the board, so they're looking to recruit. So in your package there, you'll see a letter that's asking for new members, and they're looking for a greater cross-section from across the county. They are planting 1 million trees this spring, which is the most they've planted in quite some time. And something new that they're using is the company's called Flash Forest, and they're doing drone seeding. So drones are being utilized quite a bit more in the forest industry. Big news for the Algonquin Forest is they acquired the services of Caliber Independent Forest Audit Company, and they're doing a complete forest audit this spring and summer, and the report should be out this November or December. And that's about it. If anybody has any questions.
Any questions? I see none. Oh, sorry, the warden, please.
Just one, and I'm curious, on year 2 annual report, page 32 of 79, where it says, seeding of 10,000 red oak acorns on 4 hectares. Is there a significance about the red oak that I'm missing? And I'm guessing that you'll probably want to pass that through to Lindsay, or to Lacey.
I will definitely defer to the expert.
Go ahead, Ms. Rose.
Through you, Chair. So red oak is another one of those species that's notoriously hard to regenerate. It is managed using a partial harvesting system to leave some shade over top. However, unless you can time that with a bumper crop or a really good acorn year, it's unlikely that the acorns will fall from the trees, seed in, and grow before competition starts happening. So one of the tactics, you can plant red oak seedlings, but they are likely to get browsed by deer and it's very expensive. One of the cheaper and as successful options is to purchase acorns from a seed collector or from a nursery, and then tree planters literally go along with a stick, poke a hole, put an acorn in, and give it a nice little pat of encouragement, bury it slightly in the ground. So then you have the seed source to regenerate oak in that forest. Predation, so collection by squirrels, is risky then, and there has even been trials done that use wolf urine to discourage predation on those planted acorns. So forestry is very complicated, but that's what acorn sowing means, is the actual planting of acorns.
Okay, thank you. And one further question. On page 33, it talks about chemical site preparation. Again, just I'm curious about that, and I think if anybody sees the word chemical site preparation, in the public, they'll have the same questions.
Once again, I'll turn to Ms. Rose.
Through you, Chair. So that is the same concept as what we are likely going to be doing at Beechburg Tract. The reason to do chemical site preparation is to reduce, you can't eliminate, the competition of faster growing competitive tree species like poplar, red maple, beaked hazel, etc. that will shade out the sowed acorns, the planted white or red pine that start out very small when they're planted and they grow a lot slower than those faster growing species. On Crown land, there's 3 different ways that gets applied, all by registered pesticide applicators. Very limited situation to use an aerial spray, although that is like the least impactful, surprisingly, and most effective. So that doesn't happen here very often. The other thing is called an air blast spray, where a skidder, so a large piece of equipment, would have a tank system on the back and just spray out the sides to kill off the competition. And the other way, which is what we'll be doing, is backpack spraying. So literally a team of 3 or 4 people with little backpack sprayers on are just spraying like below this level on themselves, directly on the competition. So that has a very good control of what they can cover, but they don't get as good of coverage as the other 2 methods.
Okay, thank you.
Forestry certainly is quite a science. Moving on then to the written report regarding CNL Environmental Advisory Committee, and Councillor Lynch, please.
Thank you, Chair. Just to advise the committee that we got a bulletin from CNL that the effluent from the sanitary sewage treatment plant has now passed 3 consecutive tests, which means the operations are back to full speed. They are still working to figure out what was the problem with the disruption, and to remind the public that the non-compliance was not related to any radiological contaminants. So there's nothing wrong with the environment to the public. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? I'm seeing none. We have no closed meeting today, and I think it's a record that we were through our meeting in an hour. So it's nice having one of these. The date of the next meeting will be Tuesday, August the 13th, 2024, and I'll need a mover and a seconder to adjourn. Moved by the warden, seconded by Councillor from Laurentian Valley. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. We are adjourned.